At the School of Martial Arts, famously known as the place where girls have a great personality, occur some of the coolest fights in anime. But one day, this school became the target of our protagonist, a Super Saiyan wannabe, cocky blonde guy who believed himself to be a god. Why? Because no school had ever put him to sleep, and he figured this day would be no exception. Little did he know a very powerful and attractive student was about to punch his ego straight into the afterlife. But after this, his life would change, as she might use more than her martial arts against him. Well, let me give you some context. The Tenjho Academy is a place that aims to revive martial arts in the new generation of this era. The problem is that, as always, there are students who decide to use the skills they've learned to become strong and thus defeat the weak. In other words, to bully. Or maybe they simply want to fight stronger people to take over territory. In that place, there is a martial arts club led by the petite Maya. This waifu was waiting for one of her disciples, the buddy Takayanagi. She takes him to the dojo to introduce him to a new member, her sister Aya, a beautiful young woman with great talent with the sword. So much so that she can easily cut cherry blossoms in the air. This leaves the guy in love. But the question here is, who wouldn't fall in love with such thighs? I mean, such talent. The thing is, 2 new students arrive at the institute. Or actually, they already belonged to the academy, but were rebels who didn't attend the welcoming ceremony. They are Nagi and Bob, guys who spent their time looking for trouble in different academies, and now want to take over the Tenjho Academy by being the most feared and powerful there. To do this, they start beating up all the students from the first to the senior year. But since things got out of control, 2 students seek out Maya to put them in their place. The little girl arrives as if nothing happened, looks around and sees everyone knocked out. While she talks to our protagonist, the guy looks at her confused, asking his friend what he would do if a little girl challenged him to a fight. Faced with the uncertainty of what to do, the little girl tells him that she is very strong, and since he doesn't believe her due to her physique, she decides to evolve. Yes, as you heard, she transforms into a tremendous, majestic woman with very appealing attributes. Well, we'd all have the same face as the protagonist, and her sensual voice in that state was incredible. According to her, she's so powerful that she developed a technique to change her body to strengthen her mental peace and abilities. And since she was very busy that day, it was best to end the fight quickly. In the blink of an eye, the protagonist is sent flying to the dojo with a single punch. She gets scared, thinking she overdid her strength, but actually, she worries because she sent him to the female showers where her sister was showering. Instead of attacking the protagonist, Aya ends up kissing him and asking him to be her husband. Wait, what did I miss? From that day, things for Nagi changed completely, as now Aya was constantly after him. She tried to feed him, but he never let her. When the sisters talk, Aya says she fell in love at first sight when she looked at our blondie. Just like her grandmother, she wants to conquer him. In the cafeteria, Takayanagi is chilling, just enjoying his lunch when Bob tries to learn more about the strongest people in the academy. The guy tries to ignore him, but Nagi appears and reminds him that he owes him one. Because he arrived with Maya, Aya is now after him. When the blonde guy tries to hit him, the guy stops his punches with chopsticks and quickly lands a special attack, sending him flying. Maya arrives with her sister to see if the man Aya is crazy about is worthy of her, as that ability would have defeated any untalented youth. But Nagi stands up as if nothing happened, looking so badass that you should definitely drop a like to this video. Nagi prepares and takes off his jacket to show his strength and stupidity, thinking he can fight Takayanagi, who is superior. However, his warrior spirit and ego don't allow him to stay down. The protagonist, proud like Vegeta, decides to fight with all his strength, but Takayanagi intense attacks start to wear him down. Each blow makes his vision blur, and victory seems clear, but Aya encourages him, saying her future husband must not lose. The protagonist momentarily reacts, giving us the always epic power-up moment, but when he makes a dirty trick by taking out Aya's food to lure Takayanagi and land a punch, things get complicated in this epic fight. For some strange reason, Takayanagi goes into beast mode. Literally, I mean, look at his face. Maya tries to stop, but can't. His attacks become brutal, and the protagonist could be at the brink of death. But thanks to some miracle, the guy reacts, missing the last blow, destroying a wall, and leaving Nagi humiliated and without the will to fight. Aya tries to console him, but he wants to be alone. Not sad for being defeated, but realizing his weakness. He had been fighting weaker opponents all this time, but now sees the world is full of terrifying people. Nagi stops attending school, something that keeps Aya upset and worried. Her sister tells her to forget him, especially now that the execution committee plans to deal with them. This group is the most dangerous in the institute and enforces the rules. Since Nagi and Bob caused trouble on their first day, they will be hunted down and punished. When Miss Isuzu informs them that the committee leader ordered a beating for the newcomers, the blonde guy claims he will handle them alone, as he has enormous strength and has a solid control of his fire ki. Yes, apparently there are powers. So cool. If he accomplishes Isuzu's goal, he might even get more than her powerful plot. Huh, well, you look to that. However, when he stops touching, we see had knife in his hand, showing that girl is crazy, and this matter is serious. That same afternoon, Nagi visits Bob's house, knocking down the door with a cool kick, and interrupting Bob, questioning his weakness. His best friend agrees, calling him an insect compared to Takayanagi, and the waifus Maya and Aya. But this doesn't depress him. Instead, it motivates him. Suddenly, they smell something burning. It turns out the blonde guy burned Bob's bike as a first warning. They realise that their motorcycle was charred and, in their fury, they wanted to tear apart the person who dared to damage their precious treasure. Nagi's idea was simple. Beat up every suspect until they found the culprit. However, they remember that their friend's girlfriend hadn't come home yet and, feeling afraid, they run off to find her. She was at the laundromat, where the blonde guy appeared to take advantage of the solitude. When the lights went out, only screams were heard, leaving our imagination to guess what might have happened at that moment. Aya tries to contact Bob, feeling that something bad was happening. An unexpected call comes, and when Maya answers, she realizes it's the blonde guy, one of the members of the execution committee. The guy practically threatens them because they think they're involved with these rebellious students. She tries to tell him that Aya is just in love with Nagi and that she is the one looking for them, but that doesn't mean they're on the same side. Upon hearing the conversation, Aya activates her Ryuyan, which is the dragon eye that allows the user to see the past and future of things. This way, she could locate the exact place where the protagonist and Bob were. She got on her brother's motorcycle, about whom we will learn more later, and, without knowing how to ride it, just by using the Ryuyan, she learned easily and rushed to the scene, finding Nagi and Bob severely injured. The blonde guy was waiting for her, and in a fit of rage, she tried to cut him, but her sword was damaged in combat due to the perfect use of the guy's K. Defeated, he tells her that he doesn't have time to fight them. This was simply a punishment for the disasters they caused, but the execution decided was expulsion. They must bring the papers and transfer to another academy. Otherwise, things would become more dangerous. And next time, he wouldn't be so kind, threatening to burn them to ashes. Days pass, and the waifu's sword couldn't be repaired. She knew that due to her blind hatred and fury, she lost control, and that's why the sword was affected. When she tries to take her brother's sword, Maya gets angry and tells her she can use anything she wants, except that beloved sword. Bob and Nagi knew that strength was fundamental, but combat knowledge, skills, and good training were necessary to fight against the execution committee. They decide to join Maya's dojo. The confidence and determination they had convinced the beautiful girl, but this brought more problems since belonging to the Ikuyen club would make it harder to expel them. This angered the committee, and the blonde guy tried to confront Maya, who was very strong. However, as everyone knows, she's incredibly skilled, and the waifu fought him with just a tree branch, suggesting the blonde guy likely lost this battle. Joining Maya's dojo allowed them to live there so their training could be more rigorous, and they could stay active at all times. The protagonist tried to control his power and had to hit these pans to focus the strength in one point, just like Maya. This makes the object stay still, but the force passes through it, hitting the one behind, or damaging whatever she wants. The protagonist could understand the theory, but still struggled with the practice. Bob was lucky to train his body, exercising every morning and running practically a marathon without showing any fatigue, thanks to his body's enormous resistance. This effort would bring a significant change in him. Maya was delighted to have disciples with great potential, but things couldn't stay peaceful for long. Isuzu was disappointed that the blonde guy failed. This was a severe blow to the group imposing rules in the institutes, since their status would be affected. Therefore, the big boss of the wrestling club would carry out the planned execution. However, on the way, they had to eliminate the blonde guy for failing his mission. Meanwhile, these two hotties were enjoying a good soak in the hot springs. Sayaka tells Aya she should be more aggressive with the protagonist, not wait for him to take the initiative. Instead, she should attack like a tigress, giving her quite a demonstration that leaves her a bit flustered. That same night, the protagonist was training and somehow managed to do what Maya was teaching. Bob didn't know why the pan wasn't moving, but little Maya and Takayanagi were watching from the shadows, and both were amazed. They knew that if the protagonist kept up this training, he could be the strongest in the institute in 3 months. The next morning, Aya looks for her guy to attack him like a feline, but finds her sister naked in a nearby lake. She dresses and tells her she was very sweaty because she spent the whole night with the protagonist. This obviously makes the waifu imagine dirty scenes. However, what really happened that night was just intense training. Yes, very intense training. You know what I mean, right? Okay, no, never mind. The thing is, her sister mentioned that if she doesn't hurry to claim him, Nagi might end up in her arms and become her husband. This worries the waifu because, although she said it as a joke, her sister had never made such comments about a boy before. When the protagonist wakes up, she notices his aura has changed. It seems a dragon surrounds him, or something very powerful has awakened inside him. But the most worrying thing is that the protagonist is slowly forming bonds with her sister while she remains on the sidelines, feeling like the weakest in the group. That same day at the institute, the blonde guy was attacked by several hooded weaklings. However, the wrestling club leader shows up to face him. As punishment, he not only lands a massive punch, but also shows his strength by receiving a fiery blow to the face without getting hurt. The blonde guy knows he's screwed when, after several holds, his bones start to crack with each movement, leaving him in a severe state and punished for failing his mission. A few days later, Maya's club goes bowling because, well, all that intense training needs a break. This helps the body recover and have more energy for the next rounds of training. The protagonist was a bit bored, but while the others had fun, Aya was deep in thought, doubting her sister and what might have happened between them. However, the important thing is that on campus, the big guy encounters this skinny guy. Apparently, the execution committee used another guy to finish off the newbies. The big guy gets angry because he thinks they see him as unworthy of dealing with these newbies. But Isuzu appears to clarify that they need to finish this quickly, and the more support, the better. Even the president will join the party. Although the skinny guy wants to fight with the desire to finish off Aya, because, according to him, she has such an incredible ability that if she perfects it, she would be practically unbeatable. At that moment, while bowling, Maya starts healing the protagonist's wounds with her ki. He gets nervous and pulls away because the girl was being a bit flirty. In the bathroom, Aya decides to use her dragon eye to look into the past and reach the night her sister was with the protagonist. She realizes that her sister was indeed hugging and kissing him all night. Wait, what? Well, out of anger, when her sister comes to look for her, she ends up slapping her. Running out of the bathroom, she bumps into another girl entering. The girl falls to the ground and Maya tries to help her up, but when she takes her hand, the girl squeezes it tightly, and with an unexpected move, Maya finds herself in serious trouble. Isuzu had her in a hold, threatening to break her shoulder and elbow, a severe injury. The game room had been taken over by the execution committee. Many thugs had entered, while Maya escapes using her child's ability and then transforms into the best waifu to fight. Her sister is on the stairs, deep in thought. The skinny guy arrives to fight her, but when one of the weaker ones tries to attack her, he ends up toothless against the wall. In the bowling alley, about 100 guys with high egos want to beat up Bob and Nagi. However, Takayanagi says, "Well guys, calm down. I'm the one who will be dishing out the pain here." Seeing Chiaki might be in danger, Bob decides to get her out of there. Nagi should go check on the girls since they've been gone for a while. This guy fights everyone alone, but when Nagi runs towards the bathrooms, he encounters a massive guy blocking his way. He has to test his new skills, but since there are many fights, we'll go through each one. Maya, our beloved waifu, was handling herself well against Isuzu in a tight space. Despite Isuzu wanting to slice her up with so many knives, Maya could dodge them all by deceiving her with a good distraction. She appears behind her like a ninja, using her shoulder to send the waifu flying through each of the lockers, leaving her quite injured. Instead of surrendering, Isuzu couldn't afford it, since her status as vice president would be affected. For Maya, it would be the same for her dojo if she lost. However, something strange happened. Isuzu never stopped pulling out knives. Maya didn't care much about this, but in one careless moment, she was almost stabbed by a shadow knife. She stopped it with her mouth and then used one of her diamond techniques, causing Isuzu's ki to go haywire, revealing her true obese form. It turns out she had an arsenal of knives hidden all over her body. As she grew, the knives would be exposed, shooting out like bullets, mercilessly piercing our waifu's body. Now, Maya was practically escaping from the opponent. Seeing that her staff adapted to the environment, she decided to escape to the top floor. In those stairs, the advantage was reduced to an equal fight. The guy felt the girl wasn't the same as before. Her mind was distracted. He took this chance to reveal a great sword, causing severe cuts on Aya's body. In agony from the pain, Aya activates her dragon eye where, for some reason, she sees the protagonist's memories. His mother, before dying, tells him a family secret. They belonged to an exorcist clan that invoked a demon inside him. If Nagi controls his ki, his body won't be a demon's, but a dragon's that protects his loved ones. At that precise moment, Nagi feels something calling him. The big guy sees a dragon forming around his ki because the protagonist beat him up as soon as he saw him. However, the guy seems ready to fight seriously against the protagonist. He gives him a good punch, leaving him dazed, but this motivates him to fight seriously. On the other hand, Bob locks Shiaka in a locker to protect her from the thugs. Takayanagi keeps fighting against the guys that keep coming. Then, the big, muscular and very badass-looking guy arrives, and everyone shows him respect. He's the well-known president of the execution committee. Mitsuomi is his name. Mitsuomi tells his men to wait 10 minutes. If Isuzu doesn't return in that time, he will take action and carry out the execution himself. However, Isuzu, in her current state, doesn't seem able to come back. And being one of the most beautiful girls in the academy, it was a significant blow to her reputation to be seen in that way. Maya, despite being injured, stands up and proposes to Isuzu that she will keep her secret as long as she helps her with something. It is then that this waifu calls one of her subordinates to attack him from behind, steal his clothes, and infiltrate as one of them. Returning to the protagonist's fight, he decides to end things quickly with a blow. His ability was new, and he had only one night of training, but he didn't hesitate to put it to the test against the big guy. Well, the dude was surprised, because it was the first time he had seen this type of technique. However, for some strange reason, the blow stops halfway. And well, when he tries to strike another blow, Maya appears, warning him to stop messing around and focus, because for an opponent like the one he has now, it is impossible to hurt him with that punch. Moreover, the enemy surely had a counter-attack plan for that power he just showed. Muscular guy intended to break his arm in the next move. Maya falls to the ground, exhausted from the significant loss of her vital fluid. The protagonist is worried, but decides to concentrate on the battle. The muscular guy, at great speed, appears behind him to perform a series of wrestling-style holds, ending with the scorpion hold. The protagonist, knowing that this guy is a wrestling lover, touches the wall as if it were the rope, and the guy releases him. But, well, he takes the opportunity to try his technique again, where, with a slight feint, he makes the guard drop. But when he was millimeters away from impacting his punch, the guy turns his body into a tremendous muscle armor. And well, his own power returned to his arm, slightly breaking his bones and causing him great pain. The guy takes him by surprise, and when he intended to damage his other arm, the protagonist uses his technique to lift him with force, striking him again with an unexpected blow that causes severe internal damage. The hit was so intense, that it reminded him that he simply fights to protect his club and his apprentices, since Mitsuomi threatened him with a sentence of 3 years of only pain for anyone who joined his club. But as long as he was at his service, they would always be protected. Well, the protagonist made him see that a man as strong as him shouldn't take orders from anyone. So, when he recovers and is ready to fight him without being sent by anyone, they will have a rematch. The guy agrees, quickly passing out. The case is that when Yakanagi finishes cleaning up, he tries to help Bob and his girl escape. They come face to face with Mitsuomi and his people. Mitsuomi's presence made everyone tremble with fear. Bob quickly knew that things were going to get out of control and that obviously nothing good was going to happen. And, well, the guy seeing that his dear brother Takayanagi was leaning on Bob's shoulder caused him great annoyance because he looked like a simple weakling, disgracing the prestigious family name. So, in the blink of an eye, Takayanagi was sent flying to the side, where Bob simply had crimson liquid coming out of his nose, and, well, in slow motion, the guy gave his brother a punch that no one could see. Then, one of the boss's subordinates decides to confront Takayanagi to finish him off. Bob, as he has to protect his woman, decides to face his fear and attack with everything he has. At least in his combo of punches, he manages to make Mitsuomi bleed. But it's then that something unexpected happens. Mitsuomi makes a bow to him, telling him that he has just earned his respect, as he is a person worthy of being trained by him. He has potential to develop, potential that he won't be able to develop in the dojo where he is. For a moment, Bob thinks that Nagi is always surpassing him in everything, and that, over time, he would remain in the shadows. But his girlfriend makes him see clearly that everyone supports him, especially her. So, after giving his woman a tremendous kiss, he gets ready to give his best in an impossible fight to win. On the other hand, returning to Aya, things were not looking good for the enemy. It turns out that Aya has just unleashed herself literally. Unable to control her emotions, the Ryuyan she possesses began to control her, making her practically immune to any attack. The skinny guy literally dances to her rhythm, and from one moment to the next, he was the prey to be hunted. Aya, out of control, beats him to the point of leaving him with all his bones broken, crimson liquid everywhere, and a crazed laugh that no one could take away. Her sister, worried, asks Nagi to bring her back, because she would listen in the background to the only person she wants at that moment. The protagonist arrives and preaches to her, making her return to normal and start trusting herself, realizing that the fight she must always win is with herself and not letting her emotions take over, and smiling every time she wins. There, she thanks him for everything and gives him a big kiss, but Maya interrupts the emotional moment because she knows something very bad is happening on the top floor. A guy from the execution commission informed her of what was happening, but he had no intention of fighting at the moment. She reconciles with her sister because she knows she didn't kiss him because she wanted to, but because he had fainted. Still, she tells her she won't let her steal him from her. Anyway, they arrive at the ground floor and find a terrible scene where Bob and Takayanagi are in a devastated state. The impotence and anger that Nagi feels for not being able to help his friends make him attack Mitsuomi without warning. However, his blows can't even scratch Mitsuomi, and with a simple attack, Nagi ends up being defeated. When Aya sees that her love has been mistreated, she awakens her Ryoyan, but without realizing it, the muscular guy touches her forehead with just a finger, leaving her naked and alone with Maya, who hugs her, saying they should get back together like before. Wow, let's see. What did I miss? Well, yeah guys, this guy already had some serious late-night sessions with this hottie, but for some strange reason, he eliminated his older brother since he possessed the power of a demon. And, well, at that precise moment, Nagi wakes up, but he is not the same as before. An enormous amount of ki emanates from his body, his veins are marked all over his skin, and crimson eyes full of malice stare at him. Bro, this is so epic! The atmosphere feels like the presence of a demon and a dragon at the same time. And well, even though Mitsuomi hits him again, the protagonist doesn't give up, and from one moment to the next gives him a tremendous punch, followed by punches and kicks, that cause Mitsuomi a lot of pain. Maya can't believe that the kid is hitting the man with the most powerful defense in the academy, but for some reason, she asks him to stop. He laughs and tells her that once again, because of her, another person is going to die, just like with her brother. Because of her fault of preventing him from continuing to fight, he is no longer with her. Mitsuomi prepares to deliver the final blow, but suddenly, a splash of water falls on him. Wait, what? Yes, Bunshichi is the guy who warned Maya about the mess that was happening. He belongs to the execution commission, but is more relaxed. He tells Mitsuomi to leave the kid alone because he is really passed out. His body is just responding to the damage Mitsuomi wants to cause him. The guy laughs and decides to leave the fight for now. However, if things continue like this and Maya doesn't heed his request, in the end, someone else will fall. And well, when Isuzu recovers, she asks for the president. He tells her he is fighting all of Maya's dojo members alone, which worries her, and she runs to find him, following a trail of crimson liquid that leads to the bathroom. There, when she arrives and speaks, we hear the president's voice. It turns out that all the blows he received have affected him, and his physical condition prevents him from fighting for long due to an old fight he had. So now, he could quickly fall in a fight. In fact, Bunshichi's appearance saved his life, since if the kid had connected more blows, he would have possibly been defeated. Returning to Maya, she is upset because she feels it is her fault that everyone is in danger. She decides to tell them the truth about her past with this guy, but she will only tell them once they leave the building. Already at the dojo, she prepares to tell her past. Many years ago, the 4 nations lived in harmony. Oh no, wait, that's another story. That's not how it goes. Well, a few years ago, when she was in her 3rd year at the academy, her brother Shin had a group of thugs, but not the bad kind, rather the good kind. They tried to maintain peace in the academy, but like any group, they always had enemies. The case is that Maya wanted to be the strongest, and at one point, she met a guy named Mitsuomi. She thought he was the enemy and tried to confront him, but he defeated her and then told her that he would be the successor of her brother, Shin. She didn't believe him until her own brother appeared to reveal that he had given Mitsuomi permission to fight her. The thing is, from that night on, Mitsuomi was completely smitten with Maya, to the point of believing he could fall in love with her. And well, on many occasions, he tried to get close to her, but she left him alone as she saw him as an enemy she had to defeat. However, things at the academy began to get quite disturbing when a suspicious group started eliminating members of Shin's group. They knew things couldn't stay calm for long, so they decided to look for the culprits in secret. However, a red-haired guy appeared at the academy, dragging several students. Maya runs into him, and he asks her to give her brother a message, which was the logo of his gang's jacket. Maya obviously refuses, as she is no messenger. But the guy provokes her, making her see that she is always a little girl who ends up hiding behind her brother for being the weakest in the clan. This enrages her, and she attacks him, but the guy dodges and starts fighting her without mercy, showing her that he was not just any common guy. Mitsuomi tries to interfere, but Shin stops him as he doesn't want his sister to be helped. Not because she is being mistreated, but because if they dare to interfere, she will be left with a big wound in her heart, showing how weak she is. Mitsuomi notices that his brother was clenching his fists until he broke his own skin. But, well, Maya, falling somewhat painfully, makes the red-haired guy approach Shin to talk to him. At that precise moment, Shin thrusts his finger into a specific point, leaving him in a severe state, which Maya takes advantage of to show a bit of her panties, and with a tremendous hold, knocks him out. The guy was about to die, but Shin's girlfriend, who knows medical techniques, appears and helps him. Having helped him, she asks Mitsuomi to go out with her in the afternoon after classes. He is a little embarrassed, so when they meet in the lab, she throws him on the floor, saying that Shin is neglecting her as it seems his sister is his partner and he never pays her attention. The case is that these two end up getting together secretly, while that same night, the rat hunter attacks another guy, where we can see Maya's face in the thick darkness. Well, the night passes, and Mitsuomi was training peacefully. Maya arrives to tease him, mentioning that he has the face of someone who has been in love with someone. That whole conversation is overheard not only by Mana, but also by Shin. That same night, the sacred sword that Maya's clan possesses had been taken, and, well, the only one capable of using it was Shin, as the weapon possesses the soul and key of all those people who were stripped of their lives with that blade, to then give the wielder of the weapon an additional power multiplier. But if we add that Shin has demonic power, we basically have a completely deranged Shin in devil mode who is now tormenting people. This is where Bunshichi talks to Mitsuomi, and they both agree that someone from the clan is finishing off the Ratana, where everything indicates it could be Maya. Mitsuomi is not sure, but to clear his mind, he sleeps with Mana again. Yes, these two see each other very often and spend time doing naughty things, which Bunshichi obviously knows, but they keep it secret. The thing is, the Ratana clan thinks something is being hidden from them. However, the man asks them to stay calm and that soon they will be able to solve the whole problem. So, to avoid talking to them further, he meets Mitsuomi, who had come out of Mana's house with a gift she had given him, a kind of pen drive that contained a video. When they watch it, they notice that these two always appear slightly in the background in any shot, then see images of Shin acting like a demon, eliminating people in a grotesque and ruthless manner. It turns out that Mana was sent to watch the super-talented Shin because, since childhood, he had manifested an enormous amount of power. And well, that way she became his partner, but now she is gradually becoming afraid of Shin because he increasingly acts crazily and can't control the power he has inside. Wow, guys, we got some deep lore right here. The thing is that, while Mitsuomi continues training, Maya arrives to watch him, making a quite provocative gesture with her lips. She talks with him, revealing that she indeed hunted the Ratana, but she does all this to respond to her brother, since he gets stronger to protect her. But in reality, she doesn't want him to protect her. So she is destroying everything he has created to reach a level of power that will be out of his reach. Well, here it's not very clear, because it turns out that Shin is hunting his own, but with the power of Ryuyan, he can see the future where he knows everything they think of him. So, in a way, he would be ending those who want to harm his sister, like the Ratana, who know that Maya is the one hitting them. Shin decides to act first, leaving everyone severely injured. This is where Bunshichi decides it's time to end his great friend of 10 years, because his power is getting out of control. However, when he is about to set out to find him, Isuzu was recording him. He tries to stop her, ending up in a dead-end alley where a car hits him. But it is there that he unleashes his enormous power, destroying the vehicle. Oh yes, guys, two devils fighting would be epic to see. Well, Maya arrives with Mitsuomi at the hospital, wondering who could have done this damage to the Ratana if she was always with him. It's here where one of the members says he never wants to be associated with them again, implying that it was Maya's brother who caused all this damage. At that moment, Bunshichi defeats Isuzu, then stops a taxi and heads to Shin's location, as he desires to defeat him once and for all. The detail is that along the way, they are chased by several guys who apparently work with Mana. This old man, who is the leader of martial arts recognized throughout the country, is basically the biggest gangster. The thing is, Maya tries to find her brother, but doesn't understand why she feels so much fear when thinking about Shin. She feels that darkness consumes him, and that she could lose her life if she found him. Well, the situation is that when Bunshichi arrives at the place where the fight will happen, Mana is clearly upset. How was it possible that Shin had let him go peacefully to the meeting place? The thing is, for some strange reason, this man feels they will give a good show if these two face each other. And well, for obvious reasons that we already know, Bunshichi prepares to fight where Shin awakens his Ryuyan, causing a series of illusions that not only cause psychological damage, but keep the guy in a state of not knowing what to do. However, after thinking too much, he ends up being wounded in the leg. At first, he thought it was an illusion, but suddenly he is slashed and stabbed multiple times by Shin, leaving a terrible image of the person who once was the greatest warrior known for all the virtues of martial arts, now corrupted by the thirst for power. But what happened to the guy? Would he meet St. Peter? We'll find out in the next part. So subscribe and give this video a like so I can make the second part.